Hey everybody, welcome to the Sports in the Mitten podcast, powered by Mr. Spots in Ann Arbor. I'm your host, Adam Biggers, Michigan and Michigan State beat writer for FanRag Sports. Want to go over the Michigan Air Force game. I know many of you guys are on the ledge right now, judging by some of the Twitter comments, and there are a couple things that I want to get into before we start. And Four Masterfuls is in here. He says, "Let's go." Let me open up the browser real quick so that way I can view your guys' comments in the stream. Basically, you have a football team that's 3-0 that is not clicking offensively, which I understand. It is not. I cannot understand why everybody still wants to put this on Wilton Speight. We're We're gonna talk about his numbers. There are problems still on the right side of the offensive line. Last year, the offensive line had three All Big Ten starters. They were veteran guys, played a ton of snaps. Specifically at right tackle, Eric Magnuson played a ton of snaps. Amar Darbo, J.U. Chesson, senior receivers, experienced guys. Jake Butt, arguably one of the greatest tight ends in Michigan history. So I think you have to take that stuff into account. You had a veteran running back in Davion Smith. And yeah, Davion wasn't blow you away. He was consistent, though. I mean, he was like, what, 4.3, 4.4, 4.5 yards per carry. I mean, Davion gave you a little bit of consistency. I know that there's a lot of... Put it this way, there are a lot of little things wrong with Michigan football right now, and that's something that the players acknowledge. That's something that Jim Harbaugh acknowledges. That's something that I'm actually going to break down for tomorrow's follow-up piece. But read tonight's piece. I just posted it on my Twitter at AdamBiggers81. You can find it on fanragsports.com at fanrag_u and at fanragsports. Those are the Twitter handles. And basically, we'll just go over what we're talking about tonight. And the offense does not have rhythm, right? There's no question about that. At the same time, it's like I said, it's a 3-0 team. They're ranked number 7 in the country. Jim Harbaugh mentioned this. Michigan's still averaging almost 33 points per game. Actually, it's a little bit more. It's like 33.3333. So, 33 points per game. It's still averaging 17 first downs per game. The defense, and that's something that I want to talk about too. Again, when we get into the the kind of the buy-in stuff, what to buy in continuously, we always talk about the defense. And guys, I thought the Air Force, I said was going to run the ball 50 plus times. Actually ran the ball 49 times, and I believe that was the same. The Florida Gators ran the ball against Michigan 49 times as well. So that was a little bit faster paced game. Air Force rather did a pretty good job of sustaining drives. I think that the Falcons. I mean, we knew what to expect with the triple option offense, and I think that I tweeted it. It's kind of boring to watch in my mind. You know, I like seeing guys spread out a little bit, downfield, throw the ball, not all this, kind of following the lead of a tight end, and it's just, to me, it's difficult. And I think if you're a team like Michigan, you're used to facing primarily pro style offenses, that sort of thing, and anybody who thought that this game wasn't going to be a challenge for Michigan, I think, was fooling themselves. And I'll pat myself on the back. I did call 28-13, guys. It was 29-13, but I expected a little bit more from the offense. Obviously, one offensive touchdown and 20,000 field goals from Quinn Nordin is just not going to cut it in the red zone. They're 1 for 10 in the red zone for touchdowns, 9 for 10 if you account Quinn Nordin, who's just been basically a beast. And that's all I have to say about that. Quinn Nordin's got like I don't know if all kickers are like this. He's got the Wild Thing Ricky Vaughn haircut. I mean, he's almost got like that star pitcher kind of attitude a little bit. It's weird. It's weird. So, all right, Justin Green, 108-0, just a bit off. A little bit, Justin. And Justin mentions the play calling. I do think that play calling has been an issue, and I'll get into some more of that. But again, take your questions about Michigan Air Force. What do you guys want to talk about? Leap Demon says, I called 34-17, but I gave our offense way too much credit. He says, Drevno sigh. Where do you guys want to start with the offensive play calling? I feel like the tight ends could be a little bit more involved. I still think, though, and I mentioned this in tonight's column, look at what Donovan Peoples-Jones and Tariq Black can potentially do. Look at the amount of 30-plus yard touchdowns, or not touchdowns, rather just completions that Wilton Spate has completed. I mean, he threw a 46-yard touchdown to Tariq Black against Florida. There are the makings here. I mean, I'm not gonna sit around and BS you. There are the makings of this. I think hardcore Michigan fans are getting all, like I said, mentioned before, the sense of entitlement or something. I mean, this offense, Michigan averaged 40 points per game last year. Okay, they're averaging a touchdown, one touchdown fewer right now. And yeah, the defense and special teams is helping, but at the same time, 3-0. I can't sit back and rip the quarterback. I can't sit back and rip. I think the better word for it would be there's slight tears. Everybody wants to go and rip to shreds right now, right? Oh no, the sky's falling. It's not falling. Michigan's number 7 and 3-0. Sky is not falling. Everybody, like I said, wants to rip to shreds. I think there are some small tears in there too, and I'll get specific when I mention them tomorrow in the column with the play. Obviously, kind of what happened with that. We've seen fumbles, we've seen muff punts, we've seen missed blocking assignments, we've seen bad routes, all kinds of stuff. So, all right, For Masterful says, look, I've been about as neutral on Wilton as anybody, but he has a big problem with the offense. He isn't the first QB to ever come back and have new starters around him. Red play calling is bad too, red zone. Okay, For Masterfuls, 14 of 23 for 169 yards is not overly impressive. I'll give you that. I mean, I'll give you that. The stats aren't there, but here's the fact of the matter. Michigan keeps winning with Wilton Spate as the quarterback. There's no, I can't see any logic behind putting in another quarterback right now. I just can't, and it's not going to happen. Elite Demon, I'm not down for bashing players. It's more on the play calling. Yeah, and you guys know I'm not going to sit here and bash these guys at all, but I do question the play calling a little bit. I do. If Harbaugh does indeed have as much trust as he says in Wilton Spate, I think some of the run plays were a little bit conservative. I do think that Michigan, specifically in the third quarter, going to Ty Isaac, those third downs, the fourth down. I mean, it's Preston Prosper says, what's your opinion on the defensive line getting handled in the fourth on run defense? Well, Preston, I mean, they did have to face 49 rushing attempts tonight. And again, that style of offense from Air Force is the kind that'll grind you down. This game went exactly as I expected, other than the fact that Quinn Nordin had 5 field goals. I figured the offense would probably maybe a passing touchdown, a couple passing touchdowns, and a couple rushing touchdowns. That's kind of the way that I looked at it. Balanced game. Nothing that was going to blow you away. I was blown away by Quinn Nordin, though. I mean, I think you have to give Quinn Nordin credit. A lot of credit. Jonathan Crane says, we could have won these 3 games without a quarterback. I disagree, Jonathan. Justin Green, we need a gunslinger. Wilton was a gunslinger last year. I'm not ever saying bench him, Adam. I'm smarter than that. I'm simply saying quarterback hasn't gotten better from game 1 to game 3. I think that's fair to say. I think the offensive line and the quarterback haven't really gotten better since week 1. I mean, if you want to be specific about it, and I do think we saw more tight end use too in the first 2 games. Demon continues. He says, defense played fine. They contained that offense as well as anyone could. I think so. I mean, Michigan just gave up 13 points to a team that scored 62 and had like 567 yards. Today rather, Air Force had 232 total yards, 168 rushing yards, which was to be expected, 64 passing yards. They completed 1 pass for 64 yards. And between Arian Worthman and then Nate Romine, who came in later, Nate Romine was the starter before he got injured last year. Nate was 0 for 2. Arian Worthman was 1 for 7 in that one big play. So passing defense, rush defense. I mean, if you want to break it down, I mean, 3.4 yards per carry. Considering you faced 49 rushes, look at Michigan's run stats from 2000 2015 and 2016, even 2014 when the defense started looking like it was going to get good. Or the defensive line, was kind of morphing into this elite form that we're seeing now. And we're looking at a 3.2, a 3.1 yards per carry. So I think considering the fact that Air Force ran the ball 49 times, 3.4 yards per carry is more than respectable in my book. I look at it this way, guys. If my favorite team, if these were the problems I had to talk about with my favorite team, I would be happy as a fan. And that, not just me, but I think any fan in general. Because if you read Michigan fans' comments, they read like Michigan's 0-3 and just lost to Mott Community College. No offense, Mott, but I mean that's the tone. And Mott doesn't have a football team, just for the record. So that was a bad comparison. But I think you guys understand what I'm saying. If you put these numbers on paper and asked a fan of any other team in the country, are these okay? They would say yes. That's where I'm coming from. John D says, line did get better last week but regressed this week, but the scheme didn't adjust for Air Force's coverage shift and blitzes. How does that happen? They're a tricky team. They did. Michigan, Wilton Spade admitted it. Jim Harbaugh admitted it. Arizona tricked them a little bit on defense. There was a too high safety look Wilton Spade mentioned in the red zone that kind of confused him. He said he was paying more attention to the snap. And that's something that I'll mention. They're correctable issues. It's not like these players aren't up to caliber, because they are. I think there's no doubt. I think we've already seen enough out of Sean McCune at tight end. We've seen enough as far as what the potential can be, I guess. Not enough as a body of work, but what the potential can be. With Tariq Black, without him and Peoples-Jones, there's not one steady connection receiver-wise or tight end-wise right now. And if you look back to last year, I mean, there were three options any given day with Amara, J.U., and Jake Butt. Albert McKinney says, disagree. With what, Albert? Preston Prosper, O-line needs to impose their will in the red zone. I like what Runyon came in and did. That's a very good point. I do. I think if you want to point out the biggest flaw in the offense right now, it is the offensive line. It is the right side of the line. And why? Mike Onwenu is a first-year starter. Nolan Aluzio is a first-year starter. It's the third game of their season. John D. Air Force tricking on us defense doesn't bode well for conference play. Well, who else plays like Air Force does, though, John? That's what I'm saying. Nobody in the Big Ten does. For Masterful says, without DPJ, big plays, and Nordine, we lose today. Purdue looks good. We can't keep being this lethargic on offense. Yeah, I mean, I agree. One offensive touchdown does not cut it. It doesn't. Because sooner or later, the special team, I mean, and again, I mentioned this in the comment, those are supporting features, right? The special teams, supporting features. Special teams last year and the year before, in 2015 under John Baxter, I feel like special teams really got kind of a kick started. And we saw, okay, look at the punting in the field goal unit. These can be reliable options. Field goal unit for points. Kenny Allen had his little spree. Quinn Nordine is topping that. But they can't be your bread and butter. You can't say, okay, well, the defense is going to score a touchdown today. It might. Or somebody on special teams, Donovan's going to take one back. I mean, it might happen. But you can't bank on that because those are small. I mean, they're not on the field nearly as much, right? So, I mean, just pure volume. The offense is on the field. It's the offense. It's called offense for a reason. You have to go score. Justin Green says Mike is doing very well. It's the right tackle. Mike's had his struggles, but I think Nolan Aluzio is definitely seeing that learning curve right now. And again, last year, who was the right tackle? It was Eric Magnuson. Eric played probably like 90% of the snaps. I mean, Eric was a workhorse. John D, what did Air Force do besides disguise coverage? That's not tricky. That's being a good coordinator. I mean, you do have a point there. I'm not a coach, so I mean, Harbaugh mentioned it briefly. I don't think he's gonna mention it, exactly, because then that's letting everybody know. And whoever watched that press conference goes. I mean, I think Wilton Spate said a lot with the too high safety look. I think that he gave some detail on that. But as far as disguising coverage, I mean, I wasn't on the field. That's something I'll probably ask players Monday, just to follow up on. That's a good question, John. Preston Prosper, Monet hurt again. I don't know. I can tell you that Ty Isaac left the field today. Tariq Black also left the field. Justin Green says, I'd be a better fit right now. At right tackle? No one will get it because, again, and this will go to any position. Nolan was pegged the starter for a reason because he outperformed Juwan Bushell-Beatty and he outperformed John Runyon Jr. But I don't think it's as far of a gap at that position as it is, let's say, at quarterback or another position. For Masterfuls, I would like to see Runyon in for Nolan. That might happen. But like I've mentioned before, I think now that week 3 and then starting Big Ten play, I don't think they're going to tinker that much, Big Ten play. I did get a question, and Chris Ballas actually asked this question, and I apologize for the siren. It's Friday night. Stuff always just seems to happen. Or Saturday night, rather. I don't even know what day it is. Trevor wants to know, at Michigan 1974, any other options at punter? And I don't live too far from a hospital, so. Anyway, any other options at punter? Chris Ballas referenced this, and he wanted to know if Brad Robbins was still in the mix. And right now, judging on Harbaugh's response, it didn't really. Maybe, yeah, he's in the mix, but they're going with the better guy right now. And I don't think they're going to stray from Will Hart. Tim Beck, they stacked the box a lot since he did too. How much of the play calling is intentionally vanilla? And again, I think that's a great point too, because they're not going to just show their hand before Big Ten play. Big Ten conference season is the meat. Obviously with Florida, SEC opponent, that was a Big Ten game to start. And I mean, Cincinnati played well. Air Force, I thought, played a hell of a game as well. So, but yeah, that's a great point, Tim. I think we do see the play calling open up a little bit now and especially going on the road. And Purdue's looking a lot better than most people gave the Boilers credit. So, for Masterfuls, props to our linebackers for being dogs out there, running sideline to sideline the whole game as a task. Yeah, and especially with that triple option offense. 49 rushes. Yeah, I thought Devin Bush was really good today. I thought the second Josh Metellus, a safety, free safety. I thought Josh made several big tackles. I thought Kalik Hudson, and he had that interception at the end of the game. But I thought Kalik was going to be kind of like the linchpin because he is the Viper position where he's has to go everywhere. And again, the Air Force scored 62 points. I thought that the Wolverine, if there's anything to buy into, like I've been saying, it is definitely the defense. Marcel Wood says, "What's up, Biggers? What's up, Marcel? How's your Saturday night?" Elite Demon says, "Hudson is a beast." He is. Again, guys, I understand that there are concerns. I'm not saying that they're not valid, but again, use that tears. They're tears. It's not big ripped to shreds right now. I mean, it really isn't. Tim Beck said, "I saw a stat that we held them to their lowest yardage in 5 years." I believe that. I mean, just coming, and again, VMI is a different team than Michigan, but I mean, these guys just came off a game where they put up like 500 and some total yards, almost 600 yards, something crazy like that. Chris Hawk says, "Biggers, hey Chris, how you doing? Went to the game today." Brian Schwartz says, "Nice Mr. Spots t-shirt." Thank you. I'd like to thank Tim and Keith down there for that. 808 State Street in Ann Arbor. I give away food on the podcast as well, half steak or half chicken sandwiches if you can answer some trivia questions. So if you're new to the show, Brian, welcome. Go to Mr. Spots, tell Tim and Keith I sent you. Can't guarantee a discount, but they'll at least probably appreciate it. They'll acknowledge it. They'll be like, cool, man. 457 rushing yards against VMI, says Lee Demon. Thanks for the stat. But it was like 600 total, I think, wasn't it? 567, something. John D said, someone tweeted out that Spate is 1 for 21 in the red zone. Do you know if that's accurate? Yes, that is accurate. Albert McKinney, Adam, I'm disappointed in you. Why, Albert? What'd I do? I'm looking at the stats, sorry. I have some serious reservations over Michigan's red zone offense. Chris Hawk said, I mean, absolutely. If you want to even, get more specific, red zone offense, and that's important, right? I mean, yeah, it's nice that Wilton Spate has been able to make some 30-yard completions, 40-yard completions. And of course, they're not all in the air. A lot of guys are making plays, but I mean, he's thrown some 30, 40 yards downfield. That's nice to be able to do, but if you get on the doorstep and all you're getting is a field goal, that is a problem. Yeah, John D, I agree. I mean, Rutgers has better red zone stats than Michigan does right now. That's unfortunate, I know. Ruiz didn't get that red shirt. Yeah, Marcel, I told you Caesar was going to play, man. Albert McKinney says, I support Spate. This team will win 11 games. You never hear that from you. I said 9 or 10. I think Wilton is the quarterback. I don't think there's any other option at quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback. I've thought so since that Minnesota game on the road in 2015. And what a lot of people don't understand, yeah, Jake Rudock won the job, and Jim Harbaugh did say that Jake was, heads and tails, or whatever. I forgot exactly what he said. But I mean, Wilton was the number 2 guy. Wilton was always right in the mix for number 2 ever since he got to Michigan. Yeah, Albert, I can't say they'll win 11 games. I think 10 games is the high point for these guys. For Masterful says, red zone offense is all on play calling. No fade sort, big wide receiver, no Khalid Hill. And that's something I'm surprised about, too. Like, where's Khalid in all of this? Who was a beast during that last year. No tight end jump balls. Very confusing. Yeah, and you have Zach Gentry. Who's going to beat Zach Gentry for a jump ball? Honestly. Albert McKinney says 11 wins. All right, Albert, we heard it from you here. We heard it from you first. So, Albert, let me ask you this. It's safe to say that you're not one of these fans who are on the ledge and, fire coaches, bench Wilton Spate, call the season, right? Because if you're seeing 11 wins, then I think that you're overshooting maybe, but I think that you and I are probably on the same page in regards to these guys are going to be a good team. I mean, they're 3-0 right now, so. Elite Demon says, I think 8 to 10 wins. I said 9. I said 9-3 as a starting point. 10-2 if some bounces go Michigan's way. Justin Wagner says, I was thinking Michigan would win at least 10 preseason. I definitely think we would have to have some luck to get there. Yeah, and at the same time, if you make a preseason prediction, then you kind of revisit it, right, based on what you've seen. But let me ask you guys this. As fans, I mean, is there anything that you can draw from it? At least there's some confidence there that, okay, they haven't played their best, but again, like I've said a million times already, they're number 7 in the country, and they're 3-0 right now, averaging 33 points per game. So if this is the low end of Michigan football right now for this season, then I think that there's, you have to, and that's what I think. I think that these guys aren't even close. Defense, I think, is right there. I mean, the defense, no questions about that at all. But this offense isn't even close. I mean, just imagine with me for a second Donovan Peoples-Jones in 3 weeks. Imagine Tariq Black in 3 weeks. Tim Beck says, so much room to get better. You can see flashes. They could be great. Exactly. And Tim, that's been my whole premise. For Masterful says, if you see 11, you might be a bit of a homer. If you say 8 and under, you're panicking. 9 or 10 sounds like a fair-minded supporter. Elite Demon, the wide receivers are better than I expected for this early. And Tariq has been really impressive. And look at the miscommunications that we've seen between Wilton and Tariq and Kakoa too. I mean, Kakoa has not played well. Cameron Clark says, "Hey Adam." Albert McKinney says these kids at Michigan play to their level, their competition level. Okay, well, put it like this, and I think that they probably learn it through camp, but they're going to learn it more in season. If you're Donovan Peoples-Jones or you're Tariq Black, and you've never really been covered in your life, right? I mean, if you saw what these guys did to kids in high school, and I think that goes for a lot of guys. I mean, Donovan waved down a punt today, okay? Like, it's clicking with him. I think he's getting it. I think Tariq has been there. But Tariq's had those couple bobbles, that one play comes to mind against Florida, just boom, hit him right in the hands. Like, no reason not to catch it. Elite Demon says, no one knows about injuries, John D. Harbaugh. Yeah, any injuries, guys? I know that Tariq left the field. Yeah, he's carted off. But Jim Harbaugh is not going to tell us anything unless he wants to. Anybody who's like prying for the injury stuff, he's shut it down. He's not telling us anything, and he's already said it. And he made himself pretty clear. He said this is the last time he was going to address it. So then he did confirm Kareem Walker. He did confirm Donovan Jeter. He did confirm Oliver Martin, who I saw warming up today. I saw Oliver catch a ball. And then he mentioned that Grant Newsome might be available for bowl practices. That was it. That is your official injury update for the season, I think. Unless one day he's feeling generous or something, or if it's long term, like the guy's going to be out for the whole year, then he might as well say it. But yeah, he's not going to weekly. I guarantee you, someone asked about Tariq on Monday. If he even entertains it, he's going to say he's going through something. That's what you're going to get. Trust me. Marcel Woods, do you think Ruiz gets some snaps at right tackle or too small? I think Caesar's a center or a guard. I can't see Caesar on the outside. Cameron Clark says Jim is old school. He doesn't like media. To an extent, I think he understands our job. We understand his job. I think to say that he doesn't like media is kind of unfair. I think that he doesn't like media who think that they know more than him or want to bait him into questions. That's what I think. Elite Demon says he's probably going to snap at people asking. I'm telling you, Jim Harbaugh doesn't say anything to us that he doesn't want to say. You're not going to word a question, fancy and trick him into saying something. It's not going to happen. And he immediately reads into that. Even if you frame an injury question that's not directly coming out like an injury, he'll sit there and he'll think about it and he's like, okay, they want to know about an injury, I'm not going to tell them. I mean, it's kind of like, it's a mind game a little bit. Love the eye roll he gave Woj, Cameron Clark says. Ford Masterful says he likes the media, he just doesn't like loaded questions. And that's true too. And if you guys have seen any of the videos, like Jim and I last year, it took me like a minute and a half to spit out a question because I think he was screwing around with me. Then he asked me, did we get it? And yes, we got it. You got to be really direct. And I think a lot of times too, maybe he doesn't always feel like talking to us. Elite Demon says, LOL, I missed that one. Yeah, excuse me, look it up. It's on YouTube. Just put my name in there. With Jim Harbaugh, did we get it? Yeah, we got it. I would like to see some more quick slant passes to DPJ and Tariq and some quick dumps to tight ends across the middle, Chris Hawk says. I would too. And let's face it, is the Eddie McDoom jet sweep, that has got to be the most predictable play in this offense right now. I just don't, I feel like it's a wasted down. It's forced. Because you know that's the only thing that Eddie does. So if you know 13's on the field, they've watched film, okay, it's a jet. They know. Mike Zabrowski says, and yeah, Cameron Clark says, especially after that Ohio game last year. Mike Zabrowski, hey Mike, how's it going? Sorry I'm late, but what do you think about the play calling? I believe in Wilton, but this play calling is concerning and is hurting Wilton in my eyes. Mike, I don't think we've seen everything offensively yet. And I just answered a question about like quick slants, quick dumps. I think we'll probably see some more against Purdue. Aubrey fit in today a fair amount, struggled on the defense line. Again, true freshman, guys. I mean, you gotta leave the rankings at the door. Some guy, I mean, immediate like Tariq Black immediately. I mean, Donovan Peoples-Jones is looking like nearly immediately. For Masterfuls, have we ran a screen all year? No. Justin Green says it was most likely an ankle with way what just came off like in game. I don't know. I do not know, Justin. Cameron Clark says, I thought Aubrey did well. Wes Weber got here late. Hey Wes, how's it going? Michigan O-line is getting no push off the line on first down, no screens, few play action to tight ends. Well said, Wes. And Wes tweeted out some tweets. Wes, put your Twitter handle in here. You guys follow Wes, man. He's pretty good with these stats. I like to break them down, and you know I'll get into stat breakdowns. Wes is pretty quick with them. Another good guy is Drew Hallett or Hallett. I don't know how he says his last name, but Drew's really good with stats too. Justin Green says late. I'm like half asleep. Sorry, it's all right. Cameron Clark, he did reallocate really well. Typo. Yeah, follow Wes, guys, at Wesley Weber, and that's Weber with one B, JR, at Wesley Weber, JR. Really good stats. Yeah, I mean, you guys should probably just all follow just put your Twitters in there. I try to follow back as many people as I can. If you guys are, like, if you're, watch the show all the time and read my stuff, I'll follow back. Total yards today. Justin will give you the total statistical breakdown right here, guys. These are the game stats. Starting with Air Force, then Michigan. Total yards, 232 to 359. Rush yards, 168 to 190. Pass yards, 64 to 169. Penalties, Air Force, 3 for 29. Penalties, Michigan, and this is another problem, 7 for 72 yards. They had 7 penalties for 68 yards last week against Cincinnati. That's a problem. First downs, Air Force 15 to 17 for Michigan. Third downs, 3 for 13 for Air Force, 5 for 14 for Michigan. Both teams were 1 for 1 on fourth down. Total plays 58. Michigan actually ran more plays than Air Force, 65. Average yards per play, 4 yards for Air Force, 5.5 for Michigan. Red zone, 1 for 2 for Air Force. Michigan was 4 for 4, but that is misleading. Time of possession, Air Force had the ball 30-25, so 50 seconds longer than the Wolverines had it. Points off turnovers, or each team had 1 turnover. Air Force scored 3 points off a turnover. Michigan had 3 sacks and 9 tackles for losses. Air Force, I keep wanting to say Arizona for some reason. Air Force had 2 sacks and 8 tackles for loss. So does that cover it for you, Justin? Or do you want player stats as well? John D says I posted. Yeah, hey, if you guys have anything like that, I mean, especially like if you're at home, like sometimes I will with basketball games because I don't go on the road to every basketball game. I had Vine. I had a Vine account and I'd make Vines. All that stuff helps. And if I use your video or whatever, you will definitely get credit in there. If you have good stuff. Wes Weber, penalties per game, 5, 7, 7. Yeah, 5 against the Gators, 7 against Cincinnati, and 7 this week against Air Force. Cameron Clark says, do I get to go to games for free? I'm sorry, Cameron. I don't have that kind of pull. Marcel Woods says, I think if Michigan can just get past Purdue, Pep will open up the offense a little more to get ready for the beef of the schedule. I agree, Marcel. Again, 3 games, guys. Non-conference. I don't think you're going to, you're not going to see the whole shebang. Oh, do I, Cameron? Yeah, yes, I do. It's my job, Cameron. Do you win the Mr. Spots only off 1 point? I'm sure Tim and Keith will hook me up if I ask them. I usually go, I don't just go in there and ask it for free food. I give you guys the free sandwiches. I pay for mine. But they do hook me up. Great sponsors. Again, Mr. Spots in Ann Arbor, 808 State Street, MrSpotsAnnArbor.com. Cameron Clark says, maybe I should be a sports writer. That was always the plan for me, Cameron. I wanted to go to games. I was a little kid. I would watch it on TV. I'd see it in the newspaper and stuff, and I just knew. I didn't know what it was called. I just knew that that's what I wanted to do. So, if that's what you want to do it, man. I did it. You can. Fort Masterful says, did someone say free sandwiches? I did, Fort Masterfuls. You got to answer a trivia question. You got to nail a score, man. What were your guys' predictions for today? Elite Demon says, you are a beast, Adam. I read all your stuff. I appreciate it, Elite. Thank you. Cameron Clark says, I'm in high school, so I need to decide or something. Cameron, I actually worked a bunch of crap jobs, and I was in a factory. I didn't get my first writing gig till I was 27. True story. Flint Journal. Bruce Gunther. Bruce Gunther gave me a chance. All you got to do is work hard. All right, guys, my battery is at 25%. Marcel Wood said 42-14. Elite Demon says I was only off by 4 points on both scores. Weird. Fort Masterful says I tweeted you that after the game. Wait, no, 33-17. Fort Masterful said 28-14. Cameron Clark said 32-6. I think I got Marcel's in there 42-14. Yep. I got lucky. I said 28-13. Justin Green had 29-13. Are you sure, Justin? I thought you had 108-0. John D says, I watched the VMI highlights and thought we'd push their old line around. Surprised we couldn't, though not a line. Guys, I'll leave you with this comment. Air Force plays very disciplined football. And I want to get into more of that. I'm going to try to write a feature on the military influence at Michigan. I do believe there's some military influence, and look at the staff hires. When Minnick was there, Sean McGee from Navy, Jim Minnick was a Marine. Wait, you predicted right, Cameron? I predicted 28-13, so I was off by a point. Yeah, Elite Demon, they were very disciplined. Absolutely. So. And again, guys, if anybody thought Arizona, or if I did it again, if anybody thought Air Force, I'm going to write it on my hand. If anybody thought Air Force was going to be a pushover in this game, you're sadly mistaken. Sadly mistaken. I knew Air Force was going to run the ball. I said 50 plus times. It was only 49, but it was as expected. So. Guys, I want to thank everybody for watching. I'll do another podcast tomorrow. We'll get into it. I'll do one Monday after the press conference, but just wanted to have a quick chat after this game and kind of, if you're on the ledge, you can come off. I think someone mentioned last week that Sam Webb had talked some people from the ledge, so it is not panic time with Michigan football, guys. It just isn't. So yeah, Florida beat Tennessee, helps Michigan resume. Yeah, what was it? 26-20. That was a hell of a game. I caught the highlights of it when I got home. I expect O-line changes if we can't get it pushed next week. Harbaugh loves physical linemen, has to be eating them up inside. Marcel Woods, to me, big surprise was Air Force defensive backs running with wide receivers. Yeah, and hey, that Tim McVeigh guy, running back. I thought Tim was pretty good too. He looked like a hard tackle. So guys, again, my phone's gonna 24%. I want to thank everybody for watching. Read my stuff on fanragsports.com. Follow me on Twitter at AdamBiggers81. Follow FanRag at FanRag_U and at FanRagSports. Follow Sports in the Mitten podcast at Mitten Sports MI. It's on Facebook. Just search Sports in the Mitten. iTunes, Google Play, all that good stuff. FanRag Sports, Blog Talk Radio. Several ways if you want to watch the live stream or if you just want to get the audio only, several ways to do that. So, again, thanks for watching, guys. I'll have a podcast tomorrow. We'll have Monday. Wednesday will be the preview show for Purdue. So, have a good night. Thanks for watching.